NOIAW members and audience. I'm so glad you all could join us. I'm NOIAW member Giovanna di Biccari. Today we have NOIAW member Cassandra Santoro, founder and CEO of Travel Italian Style. Cassandra travels and lives in Italy 6 months of the year. She's been to every region of Italy and makes custom itineraries for individuals and group travel. Cassandra, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. I hope everything's great over there as well.
All right, everything's good over here. I'm in the DC area. Where are you?
I'm in on the Amalfi Coast, I should say, in Italy.
You're not dropping names already so soon in this discussion? Wow.
I'm here, my second home.
There might be a few of us that envy you. That's great. So how's the weather in the Amalfi Coast right now?
It's perfect. It's about 80, sunny. It rained in the days before I got here, but now it's all blue skies. So.
Okay. So you live there 6 months of the year. Have you just started your 6 months or are you ending it?
Just started.
Just started. Very good. I love this. All right. So let's talk about Campania. Can you give me a brief glimpse of Campania? Tell me about it. What makes it unique?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to get started here.
Sure.
You can see some photos. I'm sure that's going to help us. So here I am in my town here. And yeah, so basically Campania, I'm sure many people know this, but it's in the south of Italy. It's about a 3-hour drive from Rome or an hour and 10 minutes on a fast train. So really easy. So I always like to point that out. I'm going to talk about all of this later, but there's 5 different provinces, and Caserta, which is the royal palace, and then there's Benevento, which many people know for Papa Pio being born there, or so they say. And then there's Avellino, where a lot of Italian Americans are from, and also Salerno is another big Italian American spot, and also the home of Vietri sul Mare, where they make the ceramics. And then Naples, the whole province of Naples is the area that everybody knows and loves so well, the Amalfi Coast and Ischia, Capri, and all that.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that first picture, you know what? The first picture that you have of yourself at the beach on this slide with the bridge in the background. I was just on Instagram, and it seems like every day I'm on Instagram, that picture, that scene pulls up. What is the name of that beach so I can write it down on my bucket list, please?
Yeah, so this is the town where I live. It's called Atrani, or Atrani in Italian, because, the different names. It is the, one of the smallest fishing villages in all of Italy, actually. So the town, it's just Atrani Beach. So, yeah.
I love it. Okay, now I'm adding it to my bucket list. Perfect.
And there, yeah, it's, in recent years, because of Instagram, it's become so popular.
Yeah.
So, really lucky about that. And but I mean, this is why Campania is so unique, because you have these small local fishing villages, which many people don't realize, because they say, oh, this is just a tourist area. It's not. We have the beautiful Positano. I'm sorry, my photo is not showing up, but there was a beautiful picture of Positano there, technology. And we have, the beaches of Capri, the luxury life of Sophia Loren, and then you have the wine country and the countryside. So I think having that balance and the wonderful food that everybody knows and loves about Southern Italy all in one place, and you can hike, you can basically do history, hiking, beach, and great food all in one day. So that's what I think makes it unique.
That does make it unique. I can see why people would want to travel there. And do you think that the beaches is the #1 reason you have people from America traveling there? Or what's the number one thing people are looking for when they go to the Amalfi Coast? What do you think it is?
I think it really depends. I think it's really split. I think that it's a lot of, well, #1, people do want to relax. They do want that La Dolce Vita lifestyle. So of course that's part of the agenda, but there's a lot of history here, like Pompeii and Herculaneum. So I think also people come here for that.
Yeah.
And heritage as well.
All right. Well, speaking of Campania, if any of our viewers have family there or have visited, go ahead and start commenting on our Facebook live stream. All right. So what towns do you think are a must visit anyway?
So this is a really tough question because there's 13 cities in the Amalfi Coast, and then there's the Sorrento Coast and Salerno Coast. So I tried to break it down to, the spots that people know and why. So we're starting out here. This is a photo of Sorrento during sunset. So Sorrento is technically, a lot of people think it's on the Amalfi Coast. It's not. It's on the Sorrento Coast, but it's a wonderful place. And I really wanted to break this down so people could see, because this is the number one question I get. What's the difference between staying in Sorrento and on the Amalfi Coast? So I figured this would be a good time to talk about it. I mean, Sorrento is really family friendly. So there's like lots, especially on a normal, it's a little different now, but on a normal summer night, you can walk the Corso, and there's like people playing music, and there's stores, and there's kid activities, and it has a lot less steps because the Amalfi Coast is on the cliff. So to get a lot of places, you're taking stairs. In Sorrento, there's less of that. So a lot of people are like, it's a little flat. There's not many places on the Amalfi Coast. A lot of people know this as well, where you could see a sunset and a perfect view of Vesuvius. So this is one of those places.
Nice.
And then they have like so many different hotels, from guest houses to luxury. And then they're famous for their inlaid wood and homemade sandals. And then they have the beaches there too. So I think that's a first stop for anybody who's curious about Sorrento, because I know
sounds like a great package. Sorrento is a great package for anyone.
Exactly. And it's really central. I should notice that, to everything you want to see.
Okay.
As well. And then the Amalfi Coast. This was really tough too, because, we have clients that come every year. So, we start expanding their visiting cities, but these are the top right now, I would say. It's funny, I didn't add Atrani where I am because there's only one hotel. So a lot of people, it didn't even open this season, unfortunately, because of everything. So these are the main areas that I find where you can find, again, from guest houses, bed and breakfasts to hotels. So that's where people tend to stay, and they're central. So Positano and Ravello are pretty famous. I probably have to say too much about that, but Positano is very romantic. They call it the birthday cake photo image. Like, of all the buildings, some people refer to a colorful birthday cake, the way it sits along the cliff, the famous of Spiaggia Grande.
Okay.
And there's, again, lots of restaurants and bars, and there's, there's some history. There's a villa there now, an ancient Roman villa that you can visit. And then there's Ravello, where it's probably the second most requested place to stay because of its views. So I like to point out, though, sorry, I'm getting excited. I'm like, Ravello, but no, it's not on it's not on the water, so it's not on the beach. So that's important to know.
Gotcha. Okay, so they have no beach. Ravello has no beach.
Exactly, because it's one of the highest points in the Amalfi Coast, so you're above everything.
Okay, so this makes sense. I'm on Pinterest. I feel like I'm on all kinds of social media, but I'm on Pinterest too. And I see Ravello often. And it's usually a scene of a terrace, an outdoor dining restaurant scene off a cliff. So, I don't really see much. I have never seen any of the beaches, so it totally makes sense. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and then that's why they always have pools. Most of the hotels have those infinity pools or luxury pools. And that's the same with Praiano. Praiano does have a beach, but well, let me say just quick Amalfi. So Amalfi is like the center of everything. Amalfi Coast, Amalfi, and that's where this church is here. And I find this is another popular place to stay because it has, again, a lot of restaurants and bars, and it has the ferry, same as Positano, where you could take the ferry and hop on and go to another city. And then you can also walk to other cities along the coast from here, and they also have the beaches. But, for somebody who wants a quieter stay, Ravello and Praiano, not to throw too many names, Praiano is the town next to Positano, who's like become very famous in the past years. Because it's very private and quiet and beautiful. So people who are looking for a quieter vacation would probably like Praiano.
I like that. Okay, maybe honeymoon, or maybe you just want some quiet time. Very good. I'm not sure if you can answer these now, or if you're available to, if you want to answer these later. So we've got a couple of questions already. One question is Sala Consilina a nice place to visit? It's an ancestral hometown for Linda James. And then another one is, do you have any small towns that you could mention that people should visit that are more inland?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, with the small towns, they're all pretty beautiful. They're very authentic. It's a tough question because obviously I think everything is, and this is not because I'm biased because I live here, but I think everything has its beauty in Italy. With the smaller towns, they're going to just be a little bit smaller, and they might not be as manicured. So it's going to be beautiful, and you're going to meet the people. It's going to be beautiful, but not everything looks like the Amalfi Coast. So I always like to say that, especially in the countryside. So going into the next question then, yeah, I mean, I think an easy thing to do, because there is starting tourism, is look around Avellino and the Irpinia area.
Okay.
Irpinia is the wine country. So instead of just saying, go to this one town, I think if you look up vacationing in Irpinia, that will bring you in the countryside, and you can do like a little loop of wineries and cheese and, and just like a little La Dolce Vita and everything you'd want to do.
I like it. Okay. And so do you think people should rent a car when they're there, or is it something that they can just get a taxi for while visiting? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't recommend renting a car, but some people love doing that. And I'm going to say this. I've, not to scare anybody, but one too many times I've been in the bus and, there's been cars that's been kind of stuck because they don't know how to navigate this really narrow street that is only really two-way, but like really small. So I say private driver. And I wouldn't rely on taxis. In Amalfi and Positano, there are taxis and taxi stands, but it can be expensive. And actually, you'll probably pay less with a private driver, which sounds crazy, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Okay. So can you help, do you help your clients also get their private drivers? Do you do all of that too?
Yes. So we have my team is here in Naples. We are all 20 regions, but my team is here in Naples. So there's some drivers that just work for us, and yeah, and bring you around. Sometimes it's just a straight transfer, and sometimes it's a impromptu tour.
Okay, I like it. I'm excited.
Yeah, because there were some questions about the countryside, this would be a good time to talk about the other areas. So this is going to go into the smaller towns as well. Not specific one or two names, but this is a great way to start because like I said, I think it becomes so overwhelming when you just say, go, here, but if you base it in, for example, obviously another place I love is Naples, not obviously, but because my office is there, but Naples has an interesting reputation, but it's actually, if you ask a Neapolitan, they'll say that there's more history than Rome, and they almost have me convinced. But it's an amazing city. It seems rough, but the people are amazing. The food is amazing. There's castles, palazzos, there's boat tours, there's Vespa tours, there's a lot of things you can do there. There's artisans, so.
All of that sounds awesome. And I want to get on a Vespa. If anybody else wants to get a Vespa, chime in. Don't leave me by myself on this one. Have you got on a Vespa there?
Yeah, luckily I feel comfortable now, but it did take me a couple of years. I don't drive. I'm always in the back.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of traffic, they love. That's why I said always go with the skilled driver. So I'm fine to go with a Vespa. But speaking of another kind of driving you could do on Capri, they have convertible taxis, and I should say that's the one time I'd say take a taxi. Because that's super fun to do, and you can even last minute, like we have tours there, of course, but even last minute, if you get there at the right time, you could tell the taxi driver, I want to do the tour of the island, how much? And some people do it, and like I said, it's better to set up your trip, but sometimes if you feel like doing something spontaneous, nothing's
Yes.
better than the wind in your hair.
That just sounds amazing. You don't get that here. So this is great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, and then, because a few people had said the countryside or Salerno, Avellino, I mentioned, is an actual city with the small little cities behind, but it's very important to the Italian American community. And around Avellino, again, is a lot of the wine country of Irpinia that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And then we have Ischia and Procida, which are becoming quite famous now as well. They're the islands off of Naples.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Procida, if anybody follows me on Instagram, I have a ton of photos there because it's very colorful and beautiful. I should have edited one here, but you can also see it in movies like Il Postino.
I love that movie.
That's where it's filmed, Procida.
No, okay. Now I'm definitely okay. What is your handle? You said Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Okay, what is your Instagram handle?
It is Travel Italian Style, just like my company name.
So if any of our viewers or audience want to go ahead and follow her on Instagram, now's the time too. This is great.
Yeah, and then
on there. This is amazing. Okay.
And then an area that I also love very much is Cilento, which is less visited than the Amalfi Coast, but really, because it's a little bit off the beaten path. I guess this should have been one of the areas I mentioned to people, the area of Cilento where there's Paestum, and these are Greek temples, and it's also famous for its mozzarella di bufala. They said they've created the Mediterranean diet, and then Castellabate is where the movie Benvenuto al Sud is, and so I think, and actually, if another NOIAW member, Danielle Oteri, she is really the Cilento queen. Like I'm the itinerary, but she does amazing tours there, like with groups. So I'm happy if you contact her because she is always doing tours in Cilento with groups.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's great. Some of these towns I've heard of and some I haven't. And I'm learning more as I'm doing a lot of these live streams, a lot of these other towns or islands or small towns that are inland, because I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you have too. Hey, have you heard of this town? Have you heard of that? Have you been there? And sometimes, I could say, yeah, I've been to this one that nobody would ever find, but then here's another town they might mention, and I've never heard of it. So good to know. I really like this. It's going well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then, all right, this is great. So history, yeah. What kind of history is in Campania? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so these are really great. I'd like to add, so even if you're looking for a beach vacation, you could still intertwine the history. So anybody who's like, no, I just want to relax, you can do some of these. Of course, we'd want you can do, for example, Pompeii, you can do in 2 hours or you can do in 6 hours, depending how many, anywhere from 2 to 6, depending how much history you want. So Pompeii and Herculaneum, if I'm sure many people are familiar, but they're famous for the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. So Pompeii is the larger area that was first discovered, and Herculaneum is much smaller, but you can see a little bit more of the villas intact. So I highly recommend, a lot of people miss it. It's just not enough time to do everything, but I highly recommend a visit to Herculaneum. I mentioned Naples before, but again, there's a ton of history from, the Theater of San Carlo, where they do the opera, and to Palazzo Reale, which is a beautiful, beautiful palace right in the center of Naples. Then, of course, Mount Vesuvius is if you're an adventurer, that's a great place to go for some history. And then Paestum, which I noted before in Cilento, which is famous for its Greek theaters. You're not going to see many tourists there, even in the highest of season.
Really?
So,
okay.
And then the Royal Palace of Caserta, which is always full, but that's probably about an hour out of Naples, and it was the residence of the royals in the past. So it's another really interesting thing to see.
Now, I will say this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've been to the Royal Palace of Caserta, and I want to say that the same architect that designed that also designed the Palace of Versailles, and that's why they're so similar. Is that right? That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that they're based off of it. Exactly.
Okay.
It was that correlation. So you're absolutely right.
Okay. All right. And I have another question. Maybe some viewers might have the same question as I do here. So, when I was in Pompeii, visiting Naples and everything, you could see Mount Vesuvius. When you say you could visit Mount Vesuvius, do you mean at the base of Mount Vesuvius, or are there organized trails where you can hike? What is there to do there?
Yeah, so it's actually a really short hike up. It's not like, for example, Mount Etna, you could do a full out hike with a Jeep and you can do all that, as I'm sure the viewers might have learned on the last presentation. But here's a little bit different. You have to take a driver up. You have to get up there. You could do that with a private driver, or there's also a train, they call it a trolley, but it's basically a van that can bring you up from Pompeii.
Okay.
So if you want to go on your own, you can look, at the times. They're supposed to be a set time, but sometimes, they they go with whatever they like. So always double check that. But once you get up there to the top, it's about a 20-minute uphill hike. You'll probably need a stick if you have any problem, any even minor issue with your ankles or your foot. But it's a very easy walk up. And then you can see, the whole view the city, and you can see obviously the volcano, but of course it's an active volcano, so anything, knock on wood, it doesn't usually get canceled, but typically it's open every day. And yeah, but the ride up is adventurous. The ride up is that's what I said, this is an adventurous, I highly recommend it, but it's an adventurous experience. So
up for that. That sounds amazing and fun. I'm in for adventure, I think. I mean, as long as as long as they say they're open every day, and if for some reason they're closed, then that's giving me a hint to get out of town, So very good. Oh, this is great. So we've had some viewers that have actually hiked Mount Vesuvius. This is new to me. I never knew that you could hike up there. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? What else do you have for us, Cassandra?
Well, I have some photos here. So this is actually Pistum. This is me right here in the middle of Pistum. This is some of the Greek temples. This is a spritz. I'm sure many people are familiar with spritzes now. On one of the beach clubs at Positano.
Okay.
But maybe just a quick thing, because just to really break down what excursions people can do in the Amalfi Coast, specifically, because I talked about a little bit of the history of the rest of the region, and I talked about the wine country. So the Amalfi Coast is beaches. I'd like to add that there are some areas that are more rockier than sand. Okay. So, if you have any preference, be sure to ask a travel professional, but I'm sure it's okay if it's rock, as long as it's the Amalfi Coast. I'm sure there's no problem. But it goes between beaches and hiking. Yeah. So the most famous is the Path of the Gods, which I'm sure many people know. And then there's all the history we talked about, and boating, of course. So you're saying the Path of the Gods is the most popular hiking trail? Yes. Okay. I would say that, and the Valley of the Waterfalls in Amalfi. Between those are the two most famous. I just wanted to Path of the Gods because it just sounds godly. I'm like, okay, that sounds good enough for me. So what do you think your travelers enjoy the most for activities in Campania? I think, I think they love the boating. Okay. They love to boat because you can do Amalfi Coast boating. You can go around Capri, because seeing Capri from the boat is some of the best. I always like to say mix the land and the boat, because you can see all the grottos. There's more than just a blue grotto. So you can see the other grottos, the white grotto, the green grotto. You can, see the lighthouse, and then you could just relax. So I think that they love the boating. They love Pompeii and the history as well. And most recent years, Naples, seeing, some of the artisans on San Gregorio Armeno. Okay. And the Presepe, so. All right, so all of that sounds great. Now, when you book, let's say one of your clients wants boating, are you usually booking for half day for them to get the full experience? Are they usually booking a full day on a boat? What are your clients typically asking for? Yeah, we do full day.
Okay.
Um, just because, we like, most people want to mix relaxing and just like having, some people like to stop and have a meal or have a sandwich and a glass of wine on the boat and just sit still. But they also want to see the sights. So by the time you get out, you do some swimming, then
Yeah.
you see a sight, then it's lunchtime. And then, I in the beginning we were booking half day, and then we're like, everyone always extends. So I always recommend a full day if it's in your budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I find it fascinating. I see a lot of the pictures on Instagram. It makes me wonder. So, when people are booking this, are you providing as well drinks and snacks, boat driver? Are you providing just about everything and they're good to go? I mean, they just show up, or is this more of they're on an adventure on their own? Here's your boat, go explore.
Yeah. So I would say 99% of the time it's with a boat captain, snacks, drinks, snorkels, beach towels, all that jazz, so that they can just go and enjoy and not have to think about it. Every once in a while we have somebody that wants to sail or wants to do the ride or be the captain of their own boat, and if they have the license they can do it, that's fine. But I would say 99% of the time everything's set up, and there's a mix between people who want to have a meal on board and then people who want to stop at a seaside restaurant.
Okay, okay. So if we can pause for a second, I got a couple of quick questions for you, and I hope we can like knock these out real fast.
Yeah.
Cheers to everyone that says, we have viewer comments, Cassandra, saying people are feeling some Aperol spritz right now or for this weekend. So if that's you, if you're feeling an Aperol spritz, give us a like, a thumbs up on this live stream. We have a viewer question from Linda James. Where is the hike called Path of the Gods? Is it on the beach, inland, a place to stop and eat? So Path of the Gods, can you direct us where to show up to start on that hiking trail?
Yeah, so you start in Agedla, which is it's not on the beach. It's high into the mountains. So so most people say they could do it on their own, but if you're not, I'm a city girl. I do a lot of hikes here now. We hike almost every other day, so I've done a ton. So now I'm more used to it. But when I started, I wanted a guide because I was like, wait, but there's no place to stop and eat. But in Agetola, they're super famous for their cheese provola, which is like the smoked mozzarella. So you could pick up a nice provola sandwich, pack it in your backpack, and then hike and stop on along the way and eat a sandwich. You won't find a drink or a place to eat until Nocelle, but it's like, I know it sounds like 2 hours is a lot, but it's about 2 hours. So pack some water and a sandwich and get a nice granita or a spritz at the end.
I love this. I love this. Okay, salute to our viewers. Okay, and then I love the little bullet points you have of activities for everyone. I just, you look at those and you just feel like, oh, okay, I could just call her up and tell her, put in my order in to go for all of these items. And then the last one you mentioned is lemon groves and wine country. People see a lot of pictures of lemon groves on the internet and restaurants that actually have the lemon groves, or their restaurants within lemon groves. Do you have any favorites that, sound like that by chance?
Yeah, sure. So actually, Il Polino is the super famous in Capri. That's where you see all the celebrities and all the Instagram photos of people. And if it's Capri and you see lemons, there's a good chance it's there.
Okay.
We have my main colleague, Vincenzo, his family, he grew up there. So he said nothing has changed in like 40 years. It's always been the highlight Instagram spot before Instagram. And then, here in Amalfi, there's a pizzeria called Donna Stella. And that's probably my favorite because I'm a local here. So that's under Lemon Groves as well. So.
Okay, so let's name those two restaurants again for our viewers. The one on Capri and the one on Amalfi. Can you do that again for us?
Sure. Il Palino in Capri, and then Donna Stella in Amalfi.
Okay, very good. Awesome. Very good, very good. All right, and then let's see. Okay, so your favorite foods, what would you say your favorite food is?
Okay, so I have to say, it would be a lie to say this is my favorite food because I'm allergic to shellfish, but if I could eat shellfish, this would be the first thing I could eat, spaghetti alla vongole, which is clams and spaghetti. So this, I would say this is probably the most famous pasta dish and most eaten. But I couldn't fit in all the foods that I love, so I tried to capture things in all in one photo here. So pizza in Naples, because it's UNESCO heritage. So it's designated and controlled in the sense that it has to be somewhat traditional. Because I don't want to say it has to be the exact ingredients because they're a little lenient, but it has to be like the method of how they make pizza in Naples.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's always going to be good. Even takeout pizza for like €2-3 is always delicious, like this little guy right here. And I'm a big pastry fan, so you're going to see here. So many people know, I'm like, they know this. So a lot of people know the lobster tail, it's in America, but it's actually called sfogliatella Santa Rosa here. So it's because they believe it was made in a monastery here on the Amalfi Coast, so it's named after that area. So I know I'm a bigger fan of the frolla, so I put my picture, my favorite of a frolla sfogliatella. Yes. But the sfogliatella looks more like, is the lobster tail is the Santa Rosa. Then there's the sfogliatella, which I think is here. If you could see it back here, it's with the
rose,
with the ridges, and then frolla is the round one. So there's 3 different kinds of sfogliatella. And if you get to Naples, there'll be 10 different kinds, but that'll give you a basic idea. And then this, a lot of people don't really realize is around. And this is called a caffè nocciola. And it's just a homemade hazelnut cream in your espresso. So
hazelnut cream in your espresso. Okay. I'm up for it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's specifically in Naples. So that's that's one of my favorite things. I try not to have it too often because lots of sugar, but
yeah,
I always try to have at least one.
Is that a cold drink or a warm drink?
So this one here is warm, but you can get it cold in select places. But you'll find it more often warm.
Okay. I'm just laughing. One of our viewers, Lisa Retzi, she's put an emoji of just a drool emoji, like,
Well, just a couple more things to drool about. So these pictures are actually, and it's getting a little dark here, so I should put on a light in a moment. But these photos I wanted to take. They're from my really dear friends on Capri called Ristorante Michelangelo.
Okay.
They're a big presence on Instagram, so I'm sure many people follow them, but these are their photos. And these are ravioli caprese and caprese salad.
Wow.
So 2 very traditional things.
Is that what you had for dinner, or have you had dinner yet?
I haven't had dinner yet because, everything's late here. We start late, but this will definitely be in the next couple of days. If not tonight, I will be having it.
Okay, very good. It looks so good. Again, if you're enjoying this live discussion with Cassandra, show her some love. Just heart or thumbs up on our live discussion. Oh, Cassandra, you're teasing us now.
Yeah, so we have some more beach in beautiful Naples, so just some more sights to see.
Can you tell us what the pictures are? What's on the left and what's on the right of the screen?
Yeah, sure. So we have Naples here. This is the Egg Castle. This is the Lungomare, the seaside of Naples. This is a beautiful place to walk and enjoy. And this is Ischia. This is specifically the Mezzatorre Hotel in Ischia. So, this is a little bit more luxury. It's very famous with American travelers, actually. But it's I love the vintage island / luxury feel of the location. So
yes, I like it. You got a little bit of both there, it seems like. I like it. It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous.
And this is my
all right. So why do you think people should travel to Campania first? In your opinion, of course, this might be biased, but in your opinion, why should people go travel to Campania before any other region?
Yeah, I think, everything's very personal, but I think it's easy to arrive. You can take, and unfortunately they started a United to Naples direct, but that hasn't been running because of COVID. But they started doing direct flights, but it's easy even from Rome to connect. You can also combine Rome with Naples. So if you really like, I want to go to Rome, you can go to the Amalfi Coast and Campania. After that, it's really central to the north and the south. And there's just, like I said, it's one of the places where you can get everything that you want out of a vacation, from the food to the sights.
So what's the best time of year to travel to Campania?
So anytime from April to October, I
Okay.
think is the best time to travel because the weather's good and it's a seasonal place because it's on the sea, on the sea. So that's like the most up and running time of the year.
Okay, gotcha. And how long should people stay? What do you think should be a good amount of time?
I mean, I would say 2 weeks now, but if I would say minimum, because I know everybody has only a certain amount of time they can be in Italy. So if you could do minimum 4 nights, I think if you don't have a lot of time, but if you can make it at least a week,
Okay.
And then 2 weeks, you can see almost every place I mentioned, but from 4 days to a week is key.
Okay, not 6 months like you do. Otherwise, that's your other trip.
You might not want to come back then. So.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, support the locals. This means so much. I mean, I think a lot of our members, we either have ancestry in Italy or family there. And because of COVID, tourism has been hurt and that has a trickle down effect for everyone else. So I really like that you put that together, support the locals. So I think I see things turning around. You're in Italy. Can you tell us, do you feel like things are starting to turn around?
Yeah, I'm going to say to everybody, it's better here. So there is hope. If they had a very strict lockdown. So they're still very considerate. They are still wearing masks, mostly if you go inside. They just dropped the mask law this week.
Oh.
So before that, you still had to wear a mask. So they're testing it out. And then if things don't go well. So I would say it looks good. People are at the beach. People are enjoying their life. So there's definitely hope, but we just have to keep everything up and running and keep everybody traveling. And then my friends here, like Mimi and Coco, will have a make up for all the loss of this year, which, they're happy and they said they can't wait for Americans and, North Americans to come and visit them.
All right. And hopefully we'll be allowed to go into Italy soon. I think last time I checked, we're still not allowed. I don't know if anybody's heard anything about that. Well, somebody else is actually, thank you, viewer. Janet Wilson-Smith said, how did you enter Italy with the EU ban of Americans? That's a good question. Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, I'm actually Italian. I'm very American with my blonde hair and my accent, but I'm actually Italian. And there's a lot of guidelines. So I would not just go with I'm a dual citizen line right now. I had to file paperwork after paperwork because I live here, right? So I have an office here. I have things here that I had to get back to, and a place where I live. So it's dual citizenship, but it's also there are legal ways you can get there if you have emergency work or family reasons. But we hope they are revisiting every 2 weeks. The EU ban. So the next review from the EU will be July 15th, around that time. Is it July 15th? I can't even, I'm like, what day are we? So yeah, I think, maybe, so now it's probably because it took a little bit longer to get the ban in. So July 20th, I guess, should be the next, where they would sit down and review and say, do we want to open yet or keep it another 2 weeks? So there is hope, but just hang on because they're excited to have everybody back when it opens.
And we have another question from Lisa at Etsy. Did you have to quarantine when you got there?
Yes. Yeah, you have to quarantine for 14 days. So like
you took your train straight to your place and locked yourself in?
Yeah, so here's the funny thing. You can't, I mean, people can do it and get away with it, but I did not. The law says you have to take a private driver from the airport directly to your residence. So that's what I did. I took a driver. I'm lucky to have a driving company that works for me, but also my colleague and that runs the office here is my very dear friend. So he picked me up and brought me straight here, and then I have to stay, and the guys downstairs are bringing me coffee and things. So there's I tried to be, you have to go to your residence, but I had to make sure that people here knew I could get food and drinks, because I don't think it's worth it either. That's why I think it's great when Americans come back in. We just want to make sure, because most people don't go on a 14-day vacation. So
Right.
Hopefully this will pass soon.
But you know what? In the meantime, we can plan our vacations for Italy, because that takes time anyway.
Yeah.
When we're ready and they open the doors, then you go.
Yeah, and I do want to say that things, surprisingly enough, are booking up for next year. So we have a lot of booked up in June, because you have to remember everybody from 2020 moved their trip to 2021. And then we have people saying, oh, I should get a place. And we don't know if hotels are going to be at max capacity yet. So I say, if you are really set on going in 2021, just start to plan, and then, make sure you get a flexible, that's the advantage of working with a travel planner, not to throw on my own pitch, but any of the people that have been on, the webinars, because we're here and we can be in contact with the hotel and get updates and, adjust if need be.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we're gonna, before we wrap up, we're gonna play something like a 10-second dating game here, where I'm just going to ask you basically a summary of everything we went over, and you just give us your straight answer. Best historical site, your favorite historical site to visit in Campania?
Pestum.
Okay, favorite beach?
Oh, I think it might be my hometown here of Atrani, I think.
Okay, all right. Favorite town?
It might, I feel biased keep saying this, but I also do love Praiano.
Okay, all right. Favorite restaurant on Amalfi Coast?
It might be Donna Stella, under the lemon groves and the pizza, as I mentioned before.
That sounds just amazing. I'm there, please. somebody pick us up. Me and all the viewers, we're gonna go on a private jet.
Yeah.
And your favorite activity on the Amalfi Coast, and your favorite activity in general in Campania?
I want to say eating, is that an activity? I really would say boating. I love hiking and boating, so between the two of those.
Okay, okay. And do you feel like people that have never boated before, are they, do they get, do they get seasick on the boats at all, or, is it pretty easy ride?
It's a pretty easy ride. When you're on your private boat, the captain can go at the speed that makes sense for you, that makes you feel good, unless you had like a set agenda. But it's the ferries that if you do have a tendency to get seasick, it's the ferries, but just go outside and let the fresh air hit you.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. And then let's see, what else did I ask you? Okay, favorite restaurant you said was Donna Stella in Amalfi Coast. What about dancing? Where do you go dancing there?
Yeah, so there's two clubs. The most famous is probably Music on the Rocks in Positano.
Okay.
And then the second is Africana, which is a club in Praiano. So those are the two hot spots of the summer.
Nice. And is that where you find the celebrities, or are they somewhere else?
Oh, well, I guess, this, I didn't think about this. Taverna dell'Anima, Anima and Core, sorry, there's so many different names, my friends call nicknames, on Capri is where the celebrities are. And last time I was there was 2 days after J-Lo and 3 days after Leonardo DiCaprio, or something crazy like that. And my friends are like, stop, don't chase the celebrity, they don't like it. And I'm like, I think I deserve to say hi to Leonardo. So that's where you'll probably see the celebrities on Capri, at private parties, or at, one of these clubs there.
Okay, very good. All right, do you have any other slides you'd like to share with us?
So I just, the last thing I have is all, so whether you want to plan or you just want to stare at pictures of Italy, this is where, you can reach us. So, Travel Italian Style, it's pretty easy. The name is everywhere, but this is where you mentioned Pinterest before, Giovanna. So we're on Pinterest but Instagram is where I'm up to date and doing stories every day about my lifestyle and things like that.
I'll be there every day too. Trust me, I'll follow you. So when you do the group travel, are they typically families or is it a group of women?
So the group travel is usually custom made for the particular group that requests it. So what that means is I don't set up tours, but instead I may have a friend, a group of friends that call up and say, can you plan us a 7-day trip? We want to stay all together with the same tour guide. So it's almost, we do custom tours. We do a lot of retirees and families, reunions that come, we have a group, we love you, John, if you watch it. We have a group that comes every year with, and tries out a different region, and there's about 10 to 12 of them. So yeah, so we do the custom experiences for anybody.
Oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. I'm sure you're going to get some phone calls after this. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, hit the like button. This is amazing. So let me ask you, what made you want to join NOIAW?
Yeah, so I think it's, especially when I'm back in New York, because I split my life, it's really important to keep connected to the Italian community. And I think specifically NOIAW, there's a lot of people from Southern Italy too, which is my family's from Sicily, but I'm here in Campania. But yeah, I think it's that connection that keeps me, that I enjoy the events. And I think it's great that you all are doing virtual events too. So, it can be nationwide now.
Well, we can. So before we go though, you are in Italy now, on the Amalfi Coast. You're not bragging. I love that. I might just knock on your door. People can still talk to you via email and Zoom. Would you do a Zoom meeting with clients?
Yeah, so we do Zoom, WhatsApp. If they really just want to do regular phone call, of course I can call you and I'll call you from this line, because I do have an American number that's active also in Italy. So anyway, but email, direct message, whatever's easier for you, we're everywhere. So
this is amazing. I love this. I love that you have a team that goes out and, every region of Italy. You have your team, you have your tour guides, you have your drivers. I've learned so much about you and your company. It sounds just really easy. I think there's not much work on this side of the phone, and it looks like you take care of everything. So I love it. And I'm sure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I think we're going to finish up here, but before we go, I'd like to thank our audience for watching. I want to thank you, Cassandra. You've been a blast here, so I love it.
Thank you.
Today's video will stay on our Facebook page, and we'll also share it on NOIAW's website in a few days. So there'll be the link there if you'd like to share it with your friends via email. Cassandra, we really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us. So thanks so much for joining us, and maybe we can have you back another time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And if anybody has questions about anything when you could travel again, feel free to send me a direct message on social media. And I hope to have everybody here soon. We're waiting for you to all come and enjoy La Dolce Vita.
That's right. So for our viewers, if you'd like to learn more about Travel Italian Style and Cassandra's work, you can email her or contact her on any of those handles here on her social media pages, or write any questions you have right here in our live discussion. She's gonna follow through and answer any questions she might have missed or that I might have missed. So thanks again for all our viewers. Thank you, Cassandra. And you know what, maybe next time I'm in Campania, we will meet up and we have to go to that Donna Stella, because that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, and pour an Aperol Spritz by the water, like everybody, yes. We're all on the same page about that.
All of the women here are all on the same page. I love how we were all just, yes, all about that. Oh my gosh, so great. All right, we'll have you back very soon, and I hope things turn out great in Italy for you.
Thank you, and buona giornata to everybody, and
Buonanotte to you.
thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you.